I didn't have that one down, but that's a good one. There's a retail thing that's growing right off of 205, and I'm like, already people are like, coming soon, and it's just building so fast. But
And then also I was just gonna mention how property, like with residential, it's all about appreciation in your home. With
mm-hmm.
commercial, it's about appreciation, but it's also about uh, income
The net income.
yeah,
Yep.
that it's bringing in as well.
All right, here we are again. We're gonna do a little bit different conversation here. It's something new to me with DFW Blueprint. Thanks for the likes, shares, comments, and I'm here with Shelby again, and loving the pink as always. And we're gonna talk about commercial, something that not a lot of people are kind of getting into. You are.
Yes.
Total obvious. Residential real estate is emotional. Commercial real estate is strictly business. I mean, it's like, when you call somebody, it's, what do you want?
Oh yeah.
And or if you get an answer at all. I mean, and it's totally different as far as appreciation, and I'm gonna say appreciation versus appreciation because it's commercial and residential. There's two totally different things. So talk to me about like your some experience in commercial or getting into it, or some tips and tricks, or just tell me, Jeremy, shut up and I can get into it.
No. Yeah. I mean, I've been getting into commercial. I love residential, but I do want to also expand into commercial. And it is, like you said, it's more facts, numbers, and what do you want?
Right.
Are we going to make a deal happen or not?
Right.
And in residential, I feel it's very much so. We're going to talk on the phone. How's your kids? How's your life? How are you doing?
Right.
But I've had times where I call, property management companies, and they just say, "What do you want? What are you looking for? This is the rent. This is the triple nets. This is the parking situation. Yeah, do they want to see it?
Yes or no?
What do you want?"
Right. Right. And I think the biggest thing is how it's valued too. Commercial real estate and residential real estate, the valuations is slightly a little bit different too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's net, there's the NOI, net income, net operating income, but then there's also a cap rate where
6% is a good is good for the cap rate, and then you have other properties that are 9% and doing really well.
Yeah.
And I think it does have a lot to do with kind of who the property management is for it, because there's a lot that goes into for retail centers. There's a lot that goes into that for retail centers, having to deal with tenants too, because you have, when you have a residential home and you're renting it, you're mainly just taking care of the rent,
right,
of paying for that. But leasing out a space in a retail center, you have the rent, and then you also have the triple nets. So if you're renting out a space or leasing out a space, and it's $2,000 a month, then you have the triple nets, which is taxes, insurance, and common maintenance.
Yeah, who's maintaining what?
Yeah, so that can range from $4 a square foot to $25 a square foot.
Right, and on a bigger retail center, that's a big jump. You're talking 50,000 square foot warehouses or retail centers. And I think the other piece of it is it does kind of connect with residential, but on the commercial side, they're not building these commercial retail sites without knowing what else is coming right behind it, houses. And I will tell you that, like, getting into commercial, it is an interest of mine more so. I'll probably follow you. You get into it before I will, but I would love to add that to my repertoire, where you're not just advising the person buying the property, but now advising them how to protect themselves from that tenant. And then also you got property management companies that got to make sure that they're the right ones too. Are they going to be the ones advocating for the owner where, no, you're responsible for X, Y, and Z? And then if the lease ends or it ends in the middle, or somebody, they're not paying their rent, who's maintaining that stuff? You got to maintain those records, maintain the HVAC records. Is there isn't there something called a maintenance inspection throughout?
Yeah. I mean, there's so many things in commercial that it really is a different language than residential. There's so many terms that you have to know, and so many different aspects you have to know for zoning, parking ratios, good tenant mix. Because, if you go to a retail center, you don't want 3 Mexican restaurants in the same retail center.
Right, right.
So you have to have, the good tenant mix. And then you also have to think about things in retail centers as well of, is this a good tenant for the space in the terms of, are they going to be able to stay here long term?
Right. I mean, DFW is one of those situations where commercial in DFW is quietly growing, and I say that because Amazon type of tenant. Can you get somebody into a 10-year lease? Can you get some? But then also
usually they buy though.
That's what I was going to say. But usually they buy, and so that's obviously more advantageous because the appreciation on a property is probably 4% a year. But if you're leasing and you want someone to buy the property, no, I would rather lease than buy. Or kind of similar argument when you're in residential, because there's also, if you have 40 feet of window space, that's 40 feet of free marketing. Especially if it's a heavy, high foot traffic area in downtown Dallas.
Yeah. And I think commercial real estate is just so interesting because like I've said, I love residential, but I'm pretty confident in my knowledge in residential real estate. And now jumping into commercial,
A new challenge.
It's a new challenge, and it is fun. I mean, my favorite thing in residential real estate is the negotiation part.
Yeah.
And I love that. And so in commercial, it is fun.
Do you ever get the she doesn't know what you're talking about?
Probably because I come blonde hair, pink suit.
Oh yeah.
But that's why when I go anywhere, any room I go into, I'm gonna do my research on whatever I'm stepping into.
Yeah.
Because I am a female, and it is more so a lot more males in the commercial real estate field.
Yeah.
And so being a female, I feel like I do have to go in there with a bit more knowledge than who else is going to be in that room.
I used to love it. I used to suffer from a thing called ageism, where I was like in my mid-20s dealing with, in my corporate life, dealing with what we called like district managers that were double my age, and it was just dismissed as, you don't know what you're talking about. But the life experiences that I had and the experience I had, whether it be from the military or previous careers, similarly to your feeling, it was like a challenge to me. Like, I hope you do challenge me, because I will be right there by your side, being the one that's like, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing. And I can tell that, I mean, you love it. It's like one of those situations where, you love residential, but the challenge of commercial is, for me, that's one thing that's really, really intriguing. But also the growth, it's super interesting. Like, if you've ever gone to like one of those meetings, or the county meetings, and they're just, essentially, they're like talking about what it's going to look like 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. And you're like, I'm going to be part of that.
Yeah. And the more you learn about it, the more interesting it gets, because then you're just driving around and you're like, oh my gosh, I know what that is. I know what that is.
I know what that's going to become, But then even further down the road, years down the road, be like, I sold that building.
Yes.
I got that tenant a building.
Yes, exactly. And two, what's nice with, I'll say, retail centers, even if you're, representing a tenant, you go based off of the term of the lease. Usually, typically, not always, it's 3 to 5 years. And then compensation is negotiable.
Right.
But typically, you go off of that. And so it can be a pretty good deal.
Talking about from agents?
Yeah, for the agent part of it.
Yeah.
Like the compensation part, the compensation part is based off of the 3 to 5 year term. So, if it's $2,000 a month
times
3
60
years,
months.
times 3 to 5 years, then you get the compensation based off of that. So that's a interesting.
It's work. It's work. It's not short-term work, though.
No.
A friend of mine, she is an agent in Florida, and one of her first deals was a commercial. It took like 6 months to complete. Probably because attorneys are involved. Well, definitely because attorneys are involved. Not that there's a knock on attorneys, but there's just a lot of paperwork and a lot of things that need to be made sure that people are protected. Then there's, of course, the back and forth. She completed that deal, and she said she was good for the year. But it wasn't work not worth. There was a lot of hard work
Yeah.
into it. And I think that's one thing I never ever want to gloss over is the work that your real estate agent does, whether it's commercial or residential. It's not, you get into it what you put out of it. And any good real estate agent can tell you that if you're successful, it wasn't because it was easy.
Yeah. Yeah, and two, to kind of branch off on that, it goes with even failing, and learning from, hey, I didn't do my best in this, but you learn from it.
Yeah.
And that's what makes you more knowledgeable too of, hey, this didn't work out. And
Yep.
so then based off of that, and say from my experience.
Right. From my experience, I actually did this.
Yes, I
you
was
know?
there when this
Right.
happened.
Right.
But two, in residential, there is a lot of promulgated forms.
Mhm.
But on the flip side, in commercial, there's not a lot of promulgated forms, and
Mhm.
so that's where the attorneys do come in, and you have your LOIs, letter of intents,
Mm-hmm.
and those kind of have to be a little bit more specific on
Yeah.
the best interest for your client. So there's a lot of back and forth going to attorneys, making
There is.
sure everything is done particularly correct.
And some people might say, why don't I just contact the attorney directly? And I can already tell you why. He'll charge you $200 an hour to speak to him. You want to talk to your agent? She'll talk to you for free. Yeah. And she'll explain,
Well, not free.
not for free, but she'll talk to you about, and she'll basically make sure the legalese is now English,
Mhm.
right? She or he should be able to explain that to a client. This is how you're protected. These are the terms. This is X, Y, and Z, and this is the net income that you're gonna net from this. And this is how you're gonna benefit.
Mhm.
Oh, and by the way, I've also got a line full of tenants that
Mhm.
we could potentially get into.
Well,
Um,
also, in the tenant representation, as a agent, you want to make sure you're present for that and making sure, what the space they're getting works for what their business is.
Right.
Too, because there's a lot of spaces that will just be like shell spaces where
Mhm.
there's nothing done to them, and
Right.
there's going to be a lot of TI that needs to be done to that space, and then your real estate agent kind of has to let you know, like, this is what it's going to cost to
Yeah.
do all this stuff.
should
Are
know
you
these
able
things.
to do this? And
Like a mechanic shop. I mean, if it doesn't have a lift, you're gonna pay money to get a lift. Is it air conditioned? Is it not air conditioned? Is it in the right spot? Is it in a residential spot? Am I gonna get a lot of vehicle traffic? I mean, those things are all valuable to on the commercial side. You got to know how your income is driven, not just from like owner to tenant. Like I don't want to know more than what my tenant's gonna pay me, but on once you have a tenant representation, it's like how are they benefiting too? And that's one thing I also liked was interesting is I've got a commercial building and I've got a buyer. Well, now I've got to protect his interest. He now owns it. Now I'm going to find a tenant for him. And, it's kind of like you're a little bit of double dipping, but you're protecting. You're still helping people overall.
Yeah.
And that's what I really, really liked about it. So if you understand, it sounds like you do, understand the ways to avoid the pitfalls. And I think the most important thing is making sure you understand the income.
Yes, that's a very big one too, because it's not just about the value of the property. Is that property going to bring income, and what is that income going to look like?
Right.
That's super important as well.
Well, I will tell you, if anybody's got any questions about commercial, I know I'm gonna be the first one to call you, and I'll be the first one as well to congratulate you when you get your first commercial deal this year, 2026. I can imagine it's happening, and so I'll be right behind you. So what'd you do on this? What'd you do on that? And I'll steal your notes. But this is definitely good conversation. Wanted to have a quick hip pocket class on commercial real estate, and if anybody's interested, I would say contact Shelby.
Absolutely.
She knows her stuff. So
my whole family is real estate agents too, so
love
commercial and residential. So
love it. Thank you so much. Yeah.